Welcome everyone to our first Money Talk Tuesday of 2021. My name is Christine Callahan and I work in the Office of Economic Empowerment. And I'm super excited to be with you all today to learn more about family self-sufficiency, HUD's best kept secret, which will be presented by Compass Working Capital. Before we get into our Q&A with our fabulous panelists today, I just have a few housekeeping items to go over with all of you. So just a little bit about the Office of Economic Empowerment. OEE is a department with the Office of Treasurer and Receiver General of Massachusetts that is tasked with supporting, advocating, and facilitating policies that empower all Massachusetts residents. Our programs serve women, families, high school students, veterans, seniors, and our priorities include financial education, closing the race and gender wage gap, racial equity, college affordability, and promoting STEM education. Just a little disclosure, this is a Zoom webinar and will be recorded. The webinar may be uploaded onto a public website for future use. Any information shared through the questions will be anonymous, but please note, however, that the chat is subject to public record laws and as such is not anonymous. Just a few little housekeeping items for today. This is a webinar and not a meeting. And as such, you're not going to be able to see each other, but we'll be able to communicate. So we encourage you all to chat into the Q&A function, or you can chat directly with the panelists and we'll be able to answer live. And there will be Q&A throughout the webinar. So we really encourage you all to participate in that. And at the end, we're going to have a post survey. We also encourage you all to participate in that so we can help improve these programs for future Money Talks in the future. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and get into the, introduce us to our panelists. First, we have Ann Littell from Compass Working Capital. Ann, could you introduce yourself to the group today?
Thank you, Christine. Hi, everybody. Thanks, everyone, for hosting us today. My name is Ann Littell, and I am the Chief Program Officer at Compass Working Capital, and I'm really excited to be here today.
Thanks so much, Ann. Next, we have from Compass Working Capital, Jason. Jason, could you please introduce yourself to the group?
Hi, everybody. Really happy to be here. I'm Jason Andrade. I'm the Director of Financial Services at Compass Working Capital. I'm really excited to have this presentation and talk a little bit more about FSS.
Thanks, Jason. And last but certainly not least, we have Crystal, who is actually a graduate of the FSS program. Crystal, do you mind introducing yourself to the group?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Crystal Reddick, and I'm a graduate of FSS, the Family Self-Sufficiency Program, and I worked with Compass to purchase my first home.
Thanks so much, Crystal. Before we get into knowing more about FSS, I'm going to pass it over to Ann to let us know about what Compass Working Capital does.
Great. Thanks, Christine. So Compass Working Capital, some of you may have heard about us. Some of you, this may be the first time you're hearing about Compass. We're a nonprofit organization. We're based in Boston, and we've been around for about 15 years. Our mission is to support families with low incomes to build assets and financial capabilities as a pathway to greater economic opportunity and out of poverty. We do this primarily through the FSS program, which you'll hear a little bit more about today. And we also offer financial coaching to all of our participants. We serve clients across New England, and we're growing. We now have a location in Philadelphia, and we continue to expand across the country. And we've helped families living in subsidized housing save over $8.5 million through their rent payments. So we're really proud about the impact that we're having on the community, and I'm just excited to share more about how folks across Massachusetts can take advantage of FSS too.
Thanks so much for sharing that. That's incredible how much people have been able to save through the program. Next we're going to get right into our first poll question. If we're going to launch that. And this is just, could people, if they have heard about FSF, if they could just let us know. So I'll just give everyone a few more seconds to respond to that. And would be able to share those results on the screen so the whole group could see how many people responded. All right, so it looks like 46% of the audience has heard about the Family Self-Sufficiency Program before, and 54% have not. So I'm excited for that 54% to learn more about the program today. So now I'm going to pass it back over to Anne, who's going to talk a little bit more about the family self-sufficiency.
Great, thanks, Christine. That's great, a 50-50 split. I wasn't sure what to expect.
Yeah.
Maybe no one's heard of it, or a lot of people have heard of it. I really didn't know what to expect there. So that's pretty interesting. It's split just about down the middle. Well, that's great. I'll talk to the other half of the room, maybe who has not heard of FSS. And even if you have heard of it, maybe there are some things that are new about it that you might not know about it. So FSS stands for Family Self-Sufficiency. It's a program that is run by HUD, and it's been around since 1990. So it's definitely not a new program, but it's certainly one that's underutilized. The way the program works is typically for families who live in federally subsidized housing. So whether that's Section 8 or public housing or other types of federally subsidized housing, your rent is calculated as 30% of your income. And it was designed that way so that those with the greatest need receive the greatest subsidy. However, one of the unintended sort of consequences of that is for families who increase their income, whether they complete a degree program and get a higher paying job, take on additional hours, or have other household members who increase their earnings, their rent increases as a result. And so it's really difficult and kind of contributes to this poverty cliff effect, and it makes it difficult for families to save and to get ahead. The way the FSS program works, it's a 5-year program, completely voluntary. Families who are living in federally subsidized housing join the program. Anytime they experience an increase in their rent that's caused by increases in earned income, that change in their rent is set aside in a savings account for them, which they can access during the program. And then at the end of the 5 years, they receive the full access to their funds. On average, our participants, through the partnerships that we have with other housing providers across the state, save anywhere from $7,000 to $8,000 over their participation in the program, which is a pretty significant amount of money. There's a lot of research out there about how 40% of Americans don't have, $500 to cover an emergency. So that kind of money can be really transformational. And it's an opportunity for families to use that money towards homeownership, starting or expanding a small business, paying down their debts, saving for retirement, investing in their education, or any number of their asset building goals. The thing about FSS and kind of why it's HUD's best kept secret is right now there are 2.2 million households across the country who are eligible for FSS, but about 3% are currently enrolled in the program. So a tiny number of people who could take advantage of this incredible program, this free, voluntary, like free money on the table type of program. So one of the things that we're really passionate about at Compass is this program and helping spread the word and participating in events like this to help people understand what FSS is and how they can take advantage of it. And I think we have a little video that we developed. It's a client-facing video. So this is what we show participants before they join FSS. It was vetted by our client advisory board and tells a little bit more about some of the specifics of the program. And you can find this video also on our website, which I see in the chat. So check out the video.
You work hard every day to provide for yourself and your family because you have dreams. and plan to bring them to life. But sometimes challenges come up that get in the way. The Family Self-Sufficiency Program, or FSS, can help you get ahead and reach your goals. Maybe you want to start an emergency fund, pay off debt, or build your credit. Or maybe you want to become a homeowner. FSS can help you take steps toward your goals. Typically, every time you or someone in your household earns more money, your rent goes up. This can make saving difficult, if not impossible. But with FSS, your rent increase is deposited in your savings account instead. Here's how it works. First, meet with your FSS coach to enroll in the program and set your goals. Then, when you find a job or increase your pay at work, you'll pay your new higher rent, and your housing provider will also make a deposit into your FSS savings account. This deposit will usually equal the amount of your rent increase. Over time, your FSS account grows. You receive one-on-one support and coaching. You might even be able to withdraw money from your account during the program. Maybe you need a new car for work or want to complete a certificate program. You can use your FSS savings to help make progress towards your goals. We know what you're thinking, but it's not too good to be true. You increase your income, pay your rent as usual, and money goes directly into your FSS savings account. The program is completely voluntary, and you will not lose your housing assistance by participating. To graduate, you will need to meet the goals you set for yourself, be employed, and make sure everyone in your household has been off cash welfare assistance for 12 consecutive months. FSS lasts 5 years, but you can graduate sooner. Once you've completed the program, use your savings however you see fit. You want to give your family the life they deserve. You aren't alone. FSS can help. Join FSS today, save part of your rent, and make your dreams a reality.
Great. Thanks so much, Anne, for telling us more about FSS. And I think I've been waiting to hear about why it is HUD's best kept secret. So thank you for sharing that. So I'm going to pass it over to our next panelist, Jason. And could you talk to us a bit more about how does a program like this help people towards home ownership?
Christine, I really love that video. I think it's a really great explanation of FSS. The way our program helps people or supports people in the home ownership process is, the home ownership process can be a really confusing and cumbersome process. There's a lot of steps that you have to complete before you can actually in order to get ready and to purchase a home. Especially if you come from, maybe a family or you haven't had other individuals in your life who've purchased a home, navigating that can be particularly confusing. And knowing what kind of resources or where you should be in your financial life in order to afford the payments on a home and be able to live comfortably can be really stressful. I'll also say homeownership is a great goal in the sense that a large percentage of our clients, that tends to be their number one goal. And historically in the United States, it's been the number one way for people to build wealth in their families. So it's a big driver for generational wealth building and really helping you support you later in your life. So we think it's a great goal. We really want to help people do that as much as possible. So the advantage of the program is individuals can work with a financial coach for 5 years. And the benefit of the financial coaching process is that a coach can work with you to make sure that your financial life and your financial circumstances are in a place on which you can buy a house. We talk about home ownership, that there are 4 kind of key pillars to home ownership. And that's really driven by income, savings, debt management, and your credit. So working with a financial coach will give you the ability to improve all of those things and make sure that your financial life is in a place where you can afford and get approved for a mortgage. So a coach can work with you to help improve your credit, right? Pulling your credit report and improving your credit circumstances. Debt management strategies. We know that debt can keep you from getting approved for a mortgage, and substantial debt can really be a barrier to that. So they can work with you to maybe reduce your credit card debt, your overall debt, or work towards student loan debt management if that's become a barrier for you. We also work with people in order to build savings, which is really important. Usually you need a down payment for the home, and there are other costs associated, such as closing costs. So we want to work with people, one, leveraging the FSS account, which is a huge benefit and really an accelerant to the home purchase process, but also helping people build savings on their own. So that one, you can work with this coach to get your financial life really in order to get you ready to buy the home and get approved for a mortgage. Two, we provide a lot of education and workshops around the home ownership process. So the coach can actually give you resources and step-by-step direction on what you're going to be dealing with, kind of the pre-approval process, to building your real estate team, to how to look for a home and getting the right real estate agent that's going to work and look out for your best interests. And then I think lastly is one of our most best parts of the program is that we have a great referral network and resource network of partners that we work with to make sure that our clients have all the information they need and resources to really help them get into the house, and an affordable house that they can stay in. So, we partner with organizations like MAHA that provide first-time homebuyers classes. That's a really critical and important steps to the home buying process, so that you can connect with resources in your local community or in the community you want to buy. So we connect people to those types of classes and preferential mortgage programs. So I don't know if folks are familiar with the One Mortgage program, for example. It's a mortgage that was created in partnership with the state and nonprofits in Massachusetts years ago that really makes the home buying process affordable. It gives really preferential interest rates and lower down payment costs to really help people get into a home that they can afford and have a payment that they can afford. So that's just part of the ways, you get a support with a coach that works with you, really cares about your interests, who's going to really help you prepare your finances. You're going to have someone explain the action steps and provide you with all the education so you're ready. And then you're going to get connected with the resources in your community to really make sure that you have everything that's out there and available to you to make it as affordable and cost-effective as possible.
Thanks, Jason. I really like how the person gets that coach throughout as they navigate this journey. That's incredible. Next, I'm going to pass it over to Crystal, who recently graduated from the FSS program, to talk more about her experience. Oh, Crystal, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Hello, everyone, again. So my experience being part of FSS was extraordinary, I must say. I heard of Compass and FSS through Metropolitan Boston Housing Partnership in Boston, Massachusetts. Initially, I was hesitant, just because of my own fear, overthinking, and just my lack of confidence in myself. But that hesitation didn't last long. After my first meeting, I knew I was all in. I was in the program for 4.5 years. Now I referred my daughter, who is currently a participant at FSS. And throughout my years being in the program, Compass helped me with an array of things, from credit counseling, financial stability, to purchasing my first home. My coaches were phenomenal throughout my whole time at Compass. Always being a listening ear. I can always call and ask kind of whatever, they just always were there for me. And I'm truly grateful for that. My experience was educational. Every time I left one of my coaching sessions, I had more confidence in myself because I knew what my plan was. I had a plan every time I left. So I knew what I was working on. I knew what I had to accomplish by the time I met back up with my coaches. So that gave me a lot of push. Just with many low-income families, the dream of owning a home or purchasing your first business. It just feels unrealistic. So my experience overall was really, really a great experience.
Thanks so much for sharing that, Crystal. And that's great that you've passed your experience over to your daughter now participating in the program. I did have one follow-up question. Could you talk about how you did purchase your home and how you did it during the pandemic?
Sure. So it was a challenge. Initially, it started off like, oh, wow, this is going to be easy. This is going to be smooth. But then, after a couple of weeks or whatever, it got a little rough. But the biggest challenge was just, I felt like I had to prove to everyone that I dealt with throughout the process that I was still employed. Because as we all know, so many of us lost our jobs, wages got cut, hours, and so on. So I can say that was like my biggest challenge. I swear, like I had to prove to everyone that I was still employed. But overall, it wasn't that bad considering the time and, with the pandemic. So, but I did it. It didn't take long. And with the help of Compass, FSS it's amazing. I feel I'm so proud of myself. I've never been more proud of myself.
And Crystal, we're super proud of you too. I mean, it's an accomplishment in its own right, but also navigating it during such an unprecedented time. I mean, it's incredible. So congratulations to you. We're really proud of you too.
Thank you.
Yes, congratulations, Crystal. That's incredible, especially with the pandemic and everything. So we wish you the best of luck with your new home. So moving on, my next question is for Anne. Who is eligible for FSS and how can people join the program?
That's a great question. Folks are eligible for the FSS program if they receive federally subsidized housing, specifically what's generally called Section 8, like a mobile voucher, or federally subsidized public housing. Also, HUD has recently made the FSS program available to those who receive a project-based Section 8 voucher. I know I'm doing like alphabet soup here on the housing subsidy type. So if you are in a particular area, I think the best thing is to refer to your local housing provider and ask to speak to their FSS coordinator or to ask if they have an FSS program. And if a housing provider doesn't offer the FSS program, maybe you can encourage them to start one because it's definitely a great opportunity. Compass, as I mentioned, we're not a housing provider, we're a nonprofit financial services organization, but we do have partnerships with some housing providers in Massachusetts. So currently, we work with Boston Housing Authority, Metro Housing Boston, Cambridge Housing Authority. We also work with some of the local CDCs in Boston through WIN companies, and then another owner called POA, which we have some sites in Springfield and the Cape, and Rhode Island and Connecticut as well, if anybody's interested. So if someone's interested in the FSS program and you think that they might be eligible, definitely send them to our website, compassworkingcapital.org. And there's information about the program, and you can submit an application or an online inquiry, and someone from our team will reach out to you and help you get enrolled in the program. If you live in an area where Compass is not a partner with your housing provider, definitely just contact the housing provider directly and see if they have an FSS program. So it's available to any household who receives federally subsidized housing. That's kind of the punchline to that one.
Great, thanks for that. I think now is a great time to pause, and if anyone in the audience has any questions for our panelists, feel free to drop them into the chat or Q&A. We did get one question about anyone in Western Mass, FSS. So would someone on the panel be able to help answer that?
Absolutely. There's a lot of great housing providers in Western Mass that provide this program. So as I mentioned, like definitely reach out to your local housing authority or housing provider to understand that. I know off the top of my head, in Worcester and Holyoke, for sure, Framingham, if you consider that Western Mass, probably not, that's more Metro West, but there are definitely other organizations in the Berkshires and things like that that offer this program. So Compass is not currently a partner with them, but please, please reach out to your local housing provider to find out more.
Thanks, Anne. I don't see any other questions in the Q&A or chat, but everyone feel free to drop them in as they come up. I guess I'll move on to some more questions. It looks like we may have just got one. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. So I guess we'll move on to some more questions. So Anne or Jason, what are some frequently asked questions you receive about FSS?
Jason, you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. We get a number of different questions. Some are really program specific. People want to know, like, when will the escrow or when things will happen. A common question I get, there are some individuals who, when they join the program, their income may already be pretty high and they may not have the ability to save as much in the FSS account as they may have initially believed they would have. And one of the questions we get is, how can I, someone who isn't necessarily escrowing money or saving money, how can I benefit, or what's the real value of the program to me, right? That's a great question in the sense that, FSS, the savings component is important, but the other huge benefit is the financial coaching aspect. As Crystal had mentioned, the home buying process can be, it's confusing, it can be cumbersome. When you work with a financial coach at Compass, you have someone who's going to be working with you for 5 years on a one-on-one basis. All the stuff you talk about is in confidence, it's confidential. They don't share that with anyone else except if it's, a supervisor or someone if they need direction or additional resources to provide to you. But they can really help you address any kind of questions that you may have in your financial life. Credit is a big topic for people. Credit to access, right? How to get a loan, how to maybe go to school, do really impactful things in your life. Credit can also be difficult to navigate and understand how to build. A coach will work with you one-on-one, look at your credit report and give you specific action steps to improve it. Debt management, student loans debt, which is a really important and popular topic, can be really confusing. Coaches can work with you one-on-one to deal with that student loan debt. Employment, right, which is a big component of the FSS. In order to escrow, you need to earn more money. Especially during the pandemic, we found that we had a huge need for employment services. So, we've recently partnered with the organization One Family Scholars, longtime partner of Compass, and they provide remote one-on-one financial, or not financial, but career coaching to our participants. Similar in style to what we do, but focused just on careers. You can help people really look at different career trajectories, career paths, earning potentials, or even go back to school and apply. So I think, financial advising in the for-profit world is an expensive service. What we're providing is kind of like financial advising light, where people can get someone to support them, talk about foundational financial topics and some advanced topics, or get pointed in the right direction or connected to the right resource to get the help that they need. So that's a common question. There's a lot of value in the program outside of FSS in the savings component. And it's something that we think that most people, if they can, they really should take advantage of.
Great, thanks, Jason. I have another question for you, Jason. What if I am not in Section 8 program, but I'm interested in learning more about asset building?
That's a great question. So at this moment, Compass, for our financial coaching program, you do have to be a participant in order to receive one-on-one financial coaching. However, we do, with the pandemic, it's been somewhat on hold, but historically, and what we hope to do in the near future, again, is run workshops on different financial topics, or we usually bring in sometimes experts, outside experts, to talk about financial topics, maybe estate planning or starting a small business. Those are generally open to participants and the public in general. So if people want to learn about home ownership or something like that, they can join the workshops. We also have an online platform, FSS Link, where people, if they're working in this space or are just really interested, can get some resources and additional information. We also have good partnership with other financial coaching organizations in the city of Boston and generally in Massachusetts, greater Boston area. So if you do want financial coaching, you want to learn more about asset building in general, I would really implore you to connect with the resources we have on our website, look at some of the resources that we may offer, directly or via FSS Link, or you can reach out, and if you're not an eligible participant for our particular programming, we could connect you with a financial coaching organization that can help you and can help you more specifically around asset building or your particular financial needs.
Thanks, Jason. Kind of shifting gears now, with the impact of COVID-19, how have our clients able to access their funds for emergencies like COVID-19?
Yeah, it's a great question, Christine. So the way the FSS program works is at the conclusion of the program, once the client graduates, and I should note that in order to graduate, you don't necessarily have to exit subsidized housing. You can stay in subsidized housing if you're still eligible for the voucher, and that you have access to those funds unrestricted. While you're in the program, you can take a withdrawal from those funds as long as it helps you towards one of your financial goals. So it's very common, for example, for families to access their FSS funds to, repair a car that they need for work or to get to school, to pay down debt, to pay for tuition payment or something for school, to pay for equipment or specific training that they need to pay for their careers, that kind of thing. We have been able to work with our housing partners to expand some of the uses that are eligible as a result of COVID-19. So for example, right now we're all virtual, and a lot of families who have kids at home are doing education virtually. So being able to pay for Wi-Fi, being able to pay for computer equipment or for, cell phone usage of your cell phone, paying for medical expenses. That's a huge one. Even if you have access to Mass Health or insurance through your employer, you still may have unpaid medical bills or other medical needs during this time, COVID tests, personal protective equipment, PPE, wellness. There may be physical health. There's certainly a lot of mental health constraints out there as well, particularly for working parents. And so families are able to access those funds to help them create some stability. It's really meant to either help someone really kind of turbocharge some progress. So for example, paying down some debt could really, turbocharge your credit score goals and can help build your credit score, or it can kind of prevent you from slipping further down. So fixing that car so that you don't lose your, so you can get to work so you don't lose your job, or, paying for other things so you can continue to go to school, or your kids can go to school, or you can stay healthy and stay well. Those are all really important things that you're able to use the funds for yourself and your family.
Thanks, Dan. It's nice to hear that with the circumstances, they're flexible and that you can, with your different goals that you set, you can use them. That's great. Another question I have is, how have you been working with your clients during the pandemic?
Yeah, it's a great question. So like everybody, for the last 10 months, we've been fully remote. And Compass is able to, all of our technology is digital. So we were able to actually move, I think, fairly seamlessly to a remote environment. So clients are able to view online the calendars for their coaches, and they can pick any time that they choose to sign up for an appointment with their financial coaches. And we can meet, virtually, we can do phone appointments, and our hours are really flexible. And I would say too, and Jason can speak more to this, the topics that are on people's minds, I think have shifted a lot just in the last 12 months, of course. A lot of conversations around employment and just even capacity. Even if you were able to keep your job and you were working from home, if you have other family issues, if you were sick, we've had a number of clients who have tested positive and been infected by COVID-19 or have had family members that they've needed to take care of. So that has certainly dominated most of the conversations we've had with clients over the last several months. So Jason, I'm not sure if there's maybe some more you'd like to add and share for that too.
Yeah, no, that's a really great point, Anne. We've, like the world, we've really had to adjust to address what's going on. In the onset of the pandemic, we actually sent a survey directly to clients to hear back from them. How can we help them? What's going on? What's challenging? As Anne mentioned, employment was a big deal, emergency savings, getting resources. One of the things we've done, we did was set up a page dedicated on our website just to COVID resources. It was a online newsletter, and we've continued that newsletter going forward. We send out a monthly newsletter, usually in the middle of the month, giving people updates on employment opportunities, different community resources, information that they think that could be really helpful during that time. We were able also during that time to get some direct funding and provide direct cash payments to families who are really needy in that moment, which was I think was a great thing that was really helpful for folks who really needed it at that moment. And we continue to look at different resources that we can provide. We had recently did a partnership with Lyft to provide transportation credits on their app of $30 or each $15 amounts, so that people can get to where they need to go, groceries or work or whatnot. And we have like I mentioned before, this partnership with one family that came online, I think in May. The timing couldn't be better for it, where, we're remote anyways, they're remote, and people are connecting. And we've actually seen over the last few months, the instances, the amount of appointments people are connecting with those coaches are increasing. And I will say during the survey that we sent out, employment was the #1 issue that folks had brought up, that they have been impacted in some way, reduced hours, they have to switch to a fully remote environment, or they lost their job, unfortunately. So just trying as much as possible for what's out there, can we get it to people, and just hearing from them directly, soliciting as much information from them, how can we be of support resources wide? And we continue to do that.
Yeah, I would just add too that even just the nature of some of the topics that we talk about traditionally, like paying your taxes or your student loan payments or your rent payments, like as you go through and talk with a client about their cash flow, all of that changed. Do I have to pay my student loans, or are they frozen? What's going to happen to my rent? Am I going to owe all of my back rent on December 31st? Where's my stimulus money? I can't, I had an appointment at one of the VITA sites and now they're all closed. And what do I do? So even just the normal kind of day-to-day things we talked about, the answers to those questions were completely different. But I think, like in Crystal's participation here is evidence, there are also a lot of clients who are very resilient and have the right foundations and continue to work and make progress to their goals. I mean, we've had clients purchase homes and start their small businesses and graduate and receive their college degrees. So yes, it's been a lot, I mean, for all of us really, but I'm also just really encouraged by the resiliency of so many of our clients and the hard work that they do and the knowledge that they have and the steps that they've taken. And so people have been able to work towards and achieve their goals, even in spite of this crazy, wild time that we live in right now.
Yeah, really well said.
Thanks, Ann and Jason. That's great that you've been able to pivot and provide the resources during these times for your clients, and people are still continuing in the program, which is great. Another question I have, what is the value of the FSS program if someone's not able to save?
I kind of spoke a little bit about this earlier, and at least from my perspective, it's really that one-on-one coaching work, that support that you get from an individual, and the different resources we can connect people to. There's a lot of resources, at least in the Massachusetts, Greater Boston area, in New England. There's a lot of resource-rich communities and supports out there for folks that people may not be aware of. We try our best to make sure that we keep that at face value and people can know where they are, can access it. Having someone, kind of like Crystal said, who really believes in you and supports you, and is non-judgmental, who can understand your circumstances, who will listen to you, who will give you action steps that actually are pertaining to your goals and your life, is amazing. I think is a valuable thing. And having someone that you can talk to who's not necessarily a relative who you can bounce ideas off of can be really valuable, right? The non-judgment of it, someone who has your best interests at heart. I've always found, at least hearing from folks, that has been probably the highlight of the program. Like, I built so much confidence. I didn't know, I had so many things about myself that I didn't know about myself that person saw in me, right? Which is so aspirational. I think there's a lot of benefit to that one-on-one relationship, especially that it's 5 years and the different resources we connect people to. Crystal, I'm sure you
Can I add to that?
Yeah, of course.
And you get a lifelong friend.
Great point. Great point, Crystal. I know.
Agree. Like, that's like, buying a home is, what is everything to me. But the lifelong friends that I made, especially with you, Ian, like, is irreplaceable. Like, I feel like I'll always have a lifelong friend at Compass.
I love that, Crystal, and I feel the same way too. I mean, and especially too, like with your daughter being a part of the program too. I mean, it's really pretty special. Crystal, earlier you had said that you weren't sure about the program and you were kind of not sure if you wanted to join. Can you speak a little bit more about that? And if someone else is out there who's eligible and thinking, I don't know if this is the program for me, what would you tell them?
With all the barriers that so many low-income families face, it's scary. And like the video that you showed earlier, it's like, this is too good to be true. So I just kept telling myself, just try it, you can do it. I would refer whoever, and just because it's just such a really good program. You have so many resources. Yeah, I was hesitant, but it didn't last long. It really didn't. I was like, it was say no more, amen. But it can be scary, just things that we face out here, being like, sometimes you feel like you're just stuck. Most of us, the low income family, we just feel stuck. Like, how are we going to get out of this? So it's just nice to have a place like Compass that you can call, or, meet up with your coach or anyone, any staff member for that matter, and they're willing to talk to you.
And we're lifelong friends now, so even better.
Yeah.
I love that. Thanks so much, Ann, Jason, Crystal, for sharing that. I think it's incredible that you're working on a goal for the home ownership, but along the way, you're gaining knowledge and building those friendships for a lifetime. And that's so important to have those resources. Does anyone in the audience have any questions for our panelists about FSS or their experience or for Compass at all? I'm not seeing any questions. Ann, Jason, or Crystal, is there anything else you want to add about FSS or about Compass before we end today's Money Talk?
Just thank you for the opportunity. I hope if we took the quiz at the end of, or the poll at the end of this, 100% of people now know about FSS. So that's a positive. And go to our website. There's a lot of information on there. Check it out. If you are eligible for the program, if you know someone who is, please send them our way. We would love to get them enrolled in the program. If Compass doesn't partner right now with your local housing provider, reach out to them, ask about FSS, ask to speak to their FSS coordinator. I'm sure they're also excited about enrolling people in this awesome program. And yeah, thank you guys so much for the opportunity.
I just second Ann everything. We really appreciate being here today, being able to speak about the program, having Crystal join us was just wonderful. And you know, our program partly exists because we want more people to participate in FSS. It's a great program. We want families to enroll. Like Ann said, if we can help them, send them our way as soon as possible. We would love it. But even if we are not the partner to an FSS program in a community that you live in, I implore you, reach out, ask questions, right? We want people to drum up this excitement and interest in FSS across the country. And the more people ask questions about it, the more interest that's going around, the louder the voice becomes and the greater their awareness is. So just implore people to reach out, definitely ask as many questions as possible, reach out to your FSS coordinator, reach out to us if you have any questions. We want people to enroll in this program. It's a great program. Thank you.
Thanks
I just
so
want
much.
to say thank you for the opportunity. Sorry, Christine. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to share my experience with FSS. And I would encourage anyone who qualifies to join Compass or FSS if Compass is not available in your neighborhood. And Christine, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And Jason and Ann, you too. And keep up the good work.
Crystal. Thank you.
Crystal.
Yes, thanks so much, Crystal, Ann, and Jason, for talking more about your experience as a program. We hope people will be more aware that this is, since you said 3% of people eligible. Hopefully, by doing this today, we're helping to bring awareness of it. Before we sign off, we do have an exit poll for the attendees to complete. We just launched that. So if you want to complete that, this is just a way to get more information on those who attended and for future Money Talks. So we appreciate you participating in that. Our next Money Talk Tuesday will be on Tuesday, January 26th. It will be investing in your child's future, and this will be presented by MIFA in the Baby Step Savings Plan. So we're really excited about that. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, or want more information, always feel free to email us at moneytalk@tre.state.ma.us. And thank you, Ann, Jason, and Crystal, so much for talking to us more about FSS. I know I personally did not know too much about the program before this started, and I now am very knowledgeable and hope to let people know that this is an option. So thank you all, and thank you all to our our attendees for attending today. And we hope to see you at our next Money Talk. So thank you all, and stay well.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you. Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.